Okay, we're getting ready a little early, 8:58. 2 minutes early so we can wait for the sound to come through the chat room. And thank you to everybody who is with us today. We will just wait till we see some sound going in the chat room.
And there it is.
And there it is. Okay. I'm having a hard time with my... Oh, there we go. All right, so we just type in here, sound is good. Refresh. Okay, thank you, Lenny. Welcome aboard, everybody. 146 days till opening day now, looks like. According to Danny Fuller and his photo that he posted. Boston Paul, welcome aboard. Chris from Cambridge, welcome. Danny, of course. Captain Danny and Penny, SM King Turd, the World Series champion. Yes, he is. Best experience in his life. Well, other than having kids and getting married, I suppose. But how exciting for Texas Rangers fans. They had their parade yesterday, and it was glorious. And I was listening to MLB TV today. They were talking about the young fans for the Texas Rangers. You know, guys SM King Turd's age never got to see a World Series because this is their first World Series win. And they were talking about how these youngsters, ages 4 to 24, will go forward expecting their team to compete. That's probably true because once you get a taste of it, then you expect it all the time. The Texas Rangers made the investments necessary this past offseason. They made some great acquisitions at the trade deadline. Not to say they all worked out, but the effort was there. They always wanted to win. They never took their foot off the gas, and this is the reward. And I know a lot of people will say that this World Series was not great because, well, their reasoning is that these two teams they were not the best teams, but I would beg to differ that the Rangers, I mean, they were great all season. They had a lot of disappointments, and they overcame those disappointments. They played with 100% effort and passion, and these players absolutely deserve it. So, good morning to Bobby Kleinow and family. Great to see you, friend. Eddie Heckman, wonderful to see you, and Teresa, and Penny, and everybody, and Bobby, and Crystal, and the kids. Triple Play, Tommy Johnson, great to see all of you. We are getting ready for next season. A couple of chat room guys are down in Arizona right now giving us some updates on the Arizona Fall League. We will be talking about those tomorrow. Tomorrow is the Fall Stars game, which is all of the Arizona Fall League besties. It's like their all-star game. That's always fun. We miss going. We wish we could be there, but this year we just can't make it. So we have some friends over there doing their due diligence to give us some updates on these Arizona Fall League players. And, of course, Lenny's always searching around for tidbits. Malpal, Tina, welcome. Daniel Ferrara, good to see you. Gallo. Oh, Chris Gallo is there. Yes, Chris Gallo is there. John Garofalo is there. Sending us updates, sending us pictures from the Arizona First Pitch Forum. So let's get started. Los Angeles Dodgers future Hall of Famer Clayton Kershaw announced that he underwent left shoulder surgery to repair ligaments and his shoulder capsule. He also said that he's hopeful he can return next summer. Quick research into this glenohumeral ligaments Kershaw had repaired. It seems to indicate a 6-month recovery time before starting a throwing program, which is the best case scenario. Kershaw hoping to be back for next season. Now, let's talk about Lance Lynn. He, obviously, nobody's going to be keeping him on their team. I don't know if this guy's career is over, but this guy gave up 44 home runs in the regular season. And not just this season, but only 4 pitchers in Major League Baseball history gave up more than 44 home runs in a regular season. And he also gave up 4 home runs in 1 postseason inning, which was the first time in history it happened. The Dodgers pay $1 million buyout and decline Lance Lynn's $18 million team option for 2024, making him a free agent. And if I didn't tell you already, we will be talking free agents today for next season. And a couple of them have already made their decision about whether or not they want to engage with their options or not. Scott Boras explains why it's okay World Series heroes like Seager and Semien could strategize in free agency to play together. Also, I saw, first of all, I saw on MLB TV, they're talking about Juan Soto, Malpal. They're talking about the potential trades of Clark Schmidt and Jason Dominguez for a guy like Juan Soto from the Padres. Now, the thing about it is, I mean, it just, are the Yankees ready to win this year if they add a guy like Juan Soto? Let's just act like they added Juan Soto. Do they have the team to win? Because if not, this trade makes no sense. Free agent after this coming season, Juan Soto is going to be getting a lot of money. So unless your team can win right now, or you plan on signing this guy long term, what would be the reason that is rational? And I know Boston Paul has pointed out to me before that teams do things all the time that don't seem rational. But usually they at least have some idea of a rationality behind their moves that they make. So Soto, while I agree that he probably is going to get traded, unless the Padres, you know, their team is going to be down to bare knuckles. There's several, Blake Snell is done. Like, there's a lot of players on this team that are not going to be sticking around. But there also are a handful of guys that are sticking around. Xander Bogaerts, Manny Machado. Manny Machado has a while left on his contract, at least another season. Anyway, let me know what you think, Malpal, our resident San Diego Padres local. Tell me what you think about this Juan Soto, and would you trade Juan Soto for a couple of guys like Clark Schmidt and Jason Dominguez? First of all, Jason Dominguez did a good job this past year, but we all know if we look deep into his stats, we can see that his plate discipline is not top of the line plate discipline. The guy is a power hungry hitter, but he strikes out a lot. Always has, always will likely strike out a lot. Some of these things don't just go away. Manny who? Macho Manny, you know who. Good morning to Big Al on the Prowl. Great to see you this lovely Saturday morning. I want to hear your input. Oh, Machado has another decade, and there's nothing wrong with this. Machado is, I mean, you know how I feel about Manny, my favorite player in baseball, okay? Triple play, 9 more mini seasons. 9 many more seasons for Machado. Yes, okay, so Machado, and you got Bogaerts. So you do have a handful of guys that are with this team on long-term contracts. So it's not like, you know, Soto's the only guy left. I don't know. They would have to get something good for Soto to be willing to say, we're just going to bust up our team, because I think the Padres can win with him. They need to make more investments, but from what I'm hearing, they're trying to cut down on their payroll. Anyway, I'm rooting for the Padres still, even though I'm pretty sure Malpal is right once again when he says the Padres will never win a World Series with A.J. Preller at the helm. I don't know of any team in history that's allowed a guy to go through this many managers, okay? And just keep saying, all right, hire another one. Maybe it's time to part ways with AJ failure, okay? Tito, great to see you. Good morning to Jeter and family. The Red Sox declined Corey Kluber's 2024 club option. That's not surprising. Justin Turner declined his 2024 player option. He is now a free agent after playing 146 games for Boston. Finished the season pretty good. 276 batting average, 345 on-base percentage, a 455 slugging, 23 homers, and 96 RBI. I have to say this guy is like timeless, really. I mean, every year we go into fantasy drafts, and the biggest question about Justin Turner is whether or not he's going to make it through the season without ending his career. He's like 35 or so. The thing is, he used to play first, second, and third base, or he was qualified at that in fantasy. Now, right now, you'll have to bear with me a second. I am punching up Justin Turner. He's 38, so once again, my guesses are not even close. Okay, I knew he was over 35. But he had a great season. If you think about what he did this year, it's great. Now, let me tell you about his eligibility now. 41 games at first base, 10 games at second base, 7 games at third base, and 98 games at DH. So he's qualified in every league at least first base, okay? But if you're playing at Yahoo, he's qualified at first, second, and third because they use a 5-game minimum or whatever the settings are in your league. As I said, he played 41 games at first, 10 games at second, 7 games at third. That right there is excellent. Although with his stats and people looking on the surface in their fantasy drafts, they're going to see Justin Turner close to the top of the middle because of the fact that he got 23 homers, stole 4 bases, a 276 batting average. But above everything else, it's his 96 RBIs that really push him to the top. And that's because he bats near the top of the order. He bats either second or third all season long for the Red Sox. Now, he played most of his time in Dodger land. We'll see what happens. But, again, Justin Turner is a free agent now. Another free agent. Yeah?
Leonard Donaldson.
Good morning to Leonard Donaldson. Great to see you, my friend. The Tigers and Eduardo Rodriguez's agent remain in discussions about potentially restructuring his contract. We're going to talk about Eduardo Rodriguez again today. He has his deadline to exercise his opt-out clause is today. Now, something else that Boston Paul made a comment to me. Sorry, I'm talking about you a lot, Boston Paul. But I like to, a lot of the things that we bring up, a lot of the things that my fellow chat room friends talk to me about, I like to bring up during the show because I think it's interesting to talk about these guys, especially also King Turd. I got from your Twitter feed, I got some great stuff on Evan Carter, who deserves a lot of credit. I also saw Josh Young's brother, Jace Young, on MLB TV today talking about his brother. How exciting is that? Cody Bellinger. Boston Paul said he was surprised at Cody Bellinger. I was wondering, why are you surprised? He did decline his mutual option with the club, the Cubbies. He declined his $12.5 million mutual option with the Cubs yesterday. But really, I think the biggest thing is not that he declined that. And it doesn't mean that he's not going to go back with the Cubs. Boston Paul said it just surprised me because he's a great fit for the Cubbies. Absolutely, great fit for the Cubbies. There's no doubt about it. But why take $12.5 million when you can get so much more? I mean, he really deserves the contract that he's going to get. He had several bad seasons in LA, and he took a chance, went to the Cubbies. They got him for a small amount. They were able to acquire Bellinger for a lot less than his potential, and he lived up to his potential. And going into next season, he deserves a payday. I mean, they came out, well, Lenny said on the podcast yesterday that the qualifying offer now is over $20 million. So why take 12.5 when you're way above average? I think it was a no-brainer move for Bellinger, who is certain to be one of the more sought-after hitters on the open market this winter. He did bounce back, 307 batting average, 356 on-base percentage, 26 homers, 97 RBI, 20 stolen bases, and 95 runs in 130 games. He's 28 years old, in the prime of his life, former National League MVP, great defensive in center field. He would be a fit for just about any club in baseball, but the Cubbies, I sure hope they get him back. That would be great. Good morning to Chris Gallo. Great to see you, friend. He says nearly 200 people attending the First Pitch Arizona. That's great to hear. Gallo, wish we were there with you. Have a beer for us. You know, I know you will. And I heard, and you told me yesterday that you met up with John Garofalo, who's also sending us updates. Awesome. Great to see you in the chat room early this morning in Arizona. Wonderful. Let me have a sip of coffee. Yeah, Danny Fuller brings up that the fact that there's no shift anymore, that the shift rule change did affect, most likely affected Cody Bellinger. He was getting crushed by the shift in LA. Now they can't do it legally, so there he goes, off to stardom again. All right, so Evan Carter went from Double-A to World Series champion in a couple of months. He joined a great list of hitters, youngest players to bat cleanup in MLB history. Miguel Cabrera, 20 years old. Ty Cobb, 20 years old. Juan Soto, 20 years old. Evan Carter, 21 years old. So I think he ranks 5th now all time on the list. Also, Claudell Washington, he was 20 years old in 1974. So Evan Carter, the 5th youngest hitter to ever bat cleanup in World Series history. This Evan Carter is going to be something else, and it will be interesting to see if his draft price falls in line with his stats. He is super exciting. I mean, if you're in King Turd's home league, you're paying $40 for Evan Carter, $50 for Seager. You probably pay $39 for Adolis Garcia. But in everybody else's league, how much are you willing to spend? I know Mitchell was saying the other day that, $15 on Evan Carter. Now, here's the thing. I looked up his stats. The only thing that is noticeable about Evan Carter as far as what he can work on and where he may fall short is that he strikes out 32% of the time. His batting average on balls in play is over 400. And this happens a lot, with youngsters. And I don't know. Do you think he played over his head, Turd? What do you expect of this guy? Is he a very hard worker? Like what we saw with Vladdy Jr., he didn't live up to par. I'm not saying Evan Carter didn't live up to par. But the first year Vladdy Jr. was in baseball, he did okay. But he needed to lose weight and he needed to work on some stuff. He couldn't get the ball up in the air. He had to work on his launch angle, and he did that. He worked very, very hard to improve his game. When you see a youngster noticing things, even when they're great, there's still always something that you could work on to make yourself better. And if you don't constantly work on those things and you get ahead of yourself and you say, oh, I'm just an excellent player, I don't have to work on anything because I did great, then the league will figure you out. No doubt about it. Everybody has holes, okay, and everybody has something that they can work on. From what I've seen, this kid is humble. I've seen a couple of interviews with this kid, and he says he's overwhelmed. He set the bar extremely high in his first season, so he's wondering if he can live up to it. I love seeing Humble, but what do you think, Turd? Turd says that his batting average on balls in play will always be good, meaning high. Lefties are his only concern, and it's not even a concern, really. He just needs the chance. He has approximately 1 million times the work ethic of Vlad Jr. I don't know if it's a million. Anyway, but Turd says that he has a great work ethic. He's Josh Hamilton with a good head on his shoulders. That's great, and I know you're a big fan of him. Also, just exciting for Evan Carter. Now, the Diamondbacks free agent updates. Tommy Pham says, I can imagine I'll have more suitors than last year. I would still like to play 5 more years in this game. And Evan Longoria isn't sure if he's going to retire. He says, I really enjoyed this postseason run. It reminded me a lot of why I played the game. The White Sox are declining Liam Hendriks' $15 million option. They will still owe him $15 million, but it will be deferred over time. These players are getting smart with their contracts. They're getting deferred contracts, which means they get paid continuously, however long they agree to. SM King Turd says Evan Carter is very talented and raw. I mean, how exciting is it, okay, for a Texas Rangers fan going into next season, or just enjoy the moment, right? Yesterday, Bochy, in his speech after the parade, he was talking about his granddaughter sitting on the float with him, telling him that she wants to do that again. She thought it was an excellent time, and of course, Bochy says, me too. Now, Bochy might be one of the best managers in baseball history. I mean, his record, look at his record. Every time he goes somewhere, that team becomes a winning team. I'm not to give him all the credit for what this team did, but clearly he's an example that a manager does have a lot more to do with the success of a team than just putting the lineup together every day of the week. Now, one thing we know about this year's free agent class is that the headlines will be dominated by one player, and his name is Shohei Ohtani. However, there are plenty of talented players who will be shopping their services on the open market, and today we are going to do however many we can get through in the top 25 free agents for the 2024 season, based on conversations with club executives, scouts, and agents, articles, and all the information that we put together. Ohtani, now age 29, and even though he has a torn UCL, it required a second elbow surgery. He's easily the top free agent on this year's market, and it does remain to be seen if or when Ohtani will return to the mound. But his offensive profile alone, okay, which compares to guys like Aaron Judge, okay? Aaron Judge just signed $360 million for 9 years. Now, I was pretty disappointed that Ohtani needed more surgery. I don't think the Angels took very good care of him. That's my personal opinion. It's not based on anything expert. There really is no answer as to whether or not it would have happened. But doesn't it beg the question about the workload that they're putting on this guy? I mean, every day you're batting and pitching for every 5 days. I mean, 162 games is such a long season to begin with. Now you're going to throw this guy out to bat every game and pitch every 5th day. Plus, his pitching is not conducive to long career style. His velocity is in the upper 90s, mid to upper 90s. I'm telling you, if you take a pitcher that throws 93 and you compare him to a pitcher that throws 99, look at how long their careers last. It's a big deal. So, it does beg the question as to how much workload this guy can handle going forward. And fine, he's going to get a $500 million contract. That's probably true. but maybe he could live up to it just based on his offense alone. I agree that BABIP, batting average on balls in play, should not be used as the only thing to look at. But when you have a guy like Evan Carter, okay, who doesn't have a lot of at-bats and hasn't really evened out as far as what we can expect over long term, it takes at least 150 at-bats for a player to start showing what he's going to basically, what his baseline is going to be. This also applies early in the season. At the end of the season, it's not as big because it all evens out. And when you see a player who's had a high batting average on balls in play for years in a row, then you can assume that that is that player's average, and it does change per player, especially since the batting average in general has gone down so much. Every year, the batting average in general in baseball goes lower. The batting average on balls in play is supposed to be 300. I agree that is not something to look at, but when you only have a small amount of at-bats for a player such as Evan Carter, and you see that his batting average on balls in play is over 400, we can assume, by people that watch this kid and have watched him grow, such as King Turd, that his batting average on balls in play may always be close to 400. We only have a small sample size to look at. That's why I use it, and I will continue to use it, even though I know a lot of people don't use it anymore. They think that there's other formulas out there that are better idea on how a batter is going to hit. But when you have such a small sample size, and this counts for every batter early in the season, if you don't have anything else to go by, you have to assume that this player is getting a little bit lucky. Now, if he hits the ball really hard and he runs really fast, he's going to have a higher batting average on balls in play because he can get to base quicker, right? We're not dealing with Big Papi here. All right, so anyway, that's the reason I use the batting average on balls in play, and take it for what you will, Here we go, back to Ohtani. Most expect him to pitch again no later than 2025, and it's possible his deal goes far beyond Judge's. Though the guaranteed dollars are sure to take a hit from what they would have been without injury, I think the best fit is the Mariners for Ohtani. They have lots of Japanese fans over there. Also, they've never won a World Series, and it's a high time they do. Right? Chris Gallo. Yes, I think it's his second. I know for sure he had one. If this recent surgery was Tommy John, then yes, it's his second Tommy John surgery. For sure. All right. Now, one thing about Carter, we're still talking about him in the chat room. I love the interaction that we have going on. One more note about Carter. Turd says the only real thing that he needs to work on is his ability to hit lefties. And, that could be a part of just growing up. But he says that he's curious to see how Evan Carter handles lefties. You could see him and Langford platoon early in the season, but just the fact that you have guys like Langford and Carter and okay, the Texas Rangers coming back next year with DeGrom healthy. Not who knows how long he'll last, but I'm telling you, this team going forward has some very, very exciting pieces. I hope that they can keep their stars intact, but also there's more fits for Ohtani. Beyond just my opinion, he could still remain with the Angels. Of course, Danny, the Dodgers are interested in Ohtani. The San Francisco Giants could be a good home for Ohtani, or the never-ending pile of money New York Mets. Number 2, Yoshinobu Yamamoto, age 25. He's expected to be posted by the Oryx Buffaloes this offseason, adding another intriguing arm to the free agent market. He's 25 years old. He won both Pacific League MVP honors and the Sawamura Award, which is Japan's version of the Cy Young, in each of the past 2 years, and the Triple Crown in each of the past 3 years. Scouts believe Yamamoto can immediately jump into a number 1 or 2 spot in a big league rotation. And who does that make you think of immediately? How about those New York Mets? Maybe Seattle, okay? Nothing wrong with Seattle getting him either. How about the Red Sox? Are the Red Sox thinking of investing this time or no? What do you think, Boston Paul? Ohtani should be able to hit next season early. I mean, we saw Bryce Harper come back, the quickest comeback ever from Tommy John surgery. And Ohtani should be, maybe, I don't know for sure. This is just a guess. I don't have anything in front of me that tells me that he's going to be ready by the beginning of the season. But I think it's pretty early considering the fact that he's already gone through it. What do you think, Leonard? When's Ohtani going to hit?
Middle of the year.
Middle of the year.
Well, Ohtani's going to wind up with the Dodgers.
Yamamoto won Game 6, 9 innings, 1 run, 14 strikeouts. Now, was that today? Posting this year, yes. Posting this year. Yamamoto, age 25, should post this year.
Ohtani to the Dodgers, Yamamoto to the Mets.
Lenny says, Ohtani to the Dodgers, boo, boo to that. And Yamamoto to the New York Mets. Okay. Blake Snell, left-handed pitcher, age 31. On May 19th, Blake Snell was 1-6 with a 5.40 ERA after 9 starts, leading many to project that he was costing himself a ton of money in free agency. From that point forward, though, he was arguably the best pitcher in baseball, going 13-3 with the 1.20 ERA over his final 23 starts. You know he won the Cy Young Award in 2018. Could he add another Cy Young Award to his resume this offseason? It would only make the lefty the 7th pitcher to earn that honor in both leagues. Now tell me who you feel is a good fit for Snell. Potential fits include the St. Louis Cardinals, of course, those pesky Dodgers, and the San Diego Padres. Malpal, what's your insight into the Padres re-signing Blake Snell? I doubt it. But I'm not the resident Padres insider. Cody Bellinger, age 28, in the prime of his life. Of course, we talked about him a bit before, but just to put it all in perspective again. Following his disappointing 21 and 22 seasons, the 2019 National League MVP was forced to settle for a 1-year, $17.5 million contract with the Cubbies, which gave him the opportunity to reestablish his value before hitting the market again. He made the most of his time in Chicago, a .307 batting average, a .356 on base percentage, 26 home runs, 97 RBIs in 130 games. He should be set up for a sizable multi-year deal in his second go-around in free agency.
You'll stop it at the 12 mark, and you'll finish it tomorrow.
The 12 mark?
You know, at number 12.
Okay. Aaron Nola, right-handed pitcher, age 31. Nola, why do I want to send everybody to Seattle? I feel like Nola could do great in Seattle. Maybe it's because Luis Castillo, I don't know. I like Seattle. I want them to win. All right, Malpal. Malpal says doubtful for Snell. Chris from Cambridge doesn't really like the idea of Snell to the Cardinals. Or do you? Good morning to Merrill. Great to see you, friend. Nola was one of the most consistent and durable starters in the majors from 2017 to 2020. He had a 3.23 ERA and 106 starts for the Phillies. He finished fourth in the National League Cy Young race in 2022, but his performances in 2021 and 23 this year began to raise questions about what his 30s could look like. Nola's strikeout percentage this season was his lowest since 2016, though his walk percentage remained quite strong. He never has relied on velocity, using a 92 to 93 mile an hour fastball effectively thanks to his strong command. That's why I say, you get a guy like this with a 92, 93 mile an hour pitch, fastball velocity, the career tends to last longer. Look at Jordan Montgomery. He's another one that comes off the top of my head about this. Zach Gallen, another one. These guys are not throwing rockets every time they pitch the ball. They have great command, and that's what will keep them healthier longer. And I think fantasy managers should pay attention that even though a 99 mile an hour fastball with guys like Hunter Green and these other ones, they're exciting to watch, but how long is their arm going to hold out before they need to have Tommy John? Okay, and when you get Tommy John, it's not just a couple months. It's a full season that you're out. Fantasy managers should not be so enthralled with velocity and more excited about command. That's the way it is, in my opinion, of course. Everything on this show is my opinion alone. Anyway, Nola did bolster his free agent resume with a strong postseason, going 3-0 with a .96 ERA in his first 3 starts before he allowed 4 runs in 4 1/3 innings in his final National League Championship Series outing. Where is Aaron Nola going to go? SM King Turd says Snell to the Yankees would be legit. Merrill says the Yankees had virtually no impact hitting in the lineup to support Aaron Judge, and that is absolutely true. I would like to know why Triple Play finds Nola dangerous. What in his arsenal tells you that, gives you hesitancy. The Yankees do need some hitters. That's why Juan Soto, of course people would love to see Juan Soto backing up Aaron Judge, right? But can the Yankees win with Soto? Josh Hader, there are proven closers on the market this winter, including David Robertson and Craig Kimbrell, but those 2 former All-Stars are on the wrong side of the hill, and they won't be viewed as long-term options for a club seeking to stabilize the 9th inning. However, Hader is 30 in April and arguably the best reliever in the game. He's left-handed. He's posted a 1.28 ERA in 61 appearances this year, ranked in the 97th percentile or better in strikeout percentage, expected batting average, expected ERA, and hard hit percentage. Edwin Diaz landed a record-setting 5-year, $102 million deal last winter, a figure that seems comparable to what Hader might get, or even do better than Edwin Diaz. What are the potential fits for Hader? The Angels, the Phillies, the Rangers. Yes, I would love to see Hader go to the Rangers. How you feel about that, Turd? Sonny Gray, another great. I love Sonny Gray next year. I'm going to tell you that, okay? And I know you are going to steal him from me. That's okay. That's what we're here for, because Sonny Gray, he did have a roller coaster career, but he got Cy Young votes in 2 seasons, 3 All-Star teams, and he posted a couple seasons with an ERA north of 4.8, okay? But his 2-year run with the Twins has been stellar. 16-13 record, not wonderful, but his ERA 2.90 in 303 innings since the start of 2022. In this past season, he made 32 starts. He had a 2.79 ERA over 184 innings. Makes him an appealing option for pitching-needy clubs. He'll be 34 this year. Do you guys think Sonny Gray has it in him for another great season? And does it depend on where Sonny Gray ends up? Since 2019, Gray has the 12th best ERA among starters with at least 500 innings pitched, and these are in line with guys like Verlander, Kershaw, Scherzer, Cole. But what team could use him more than the Cardinals? What do you think? I mean, we already talked about Flaherty did we talk about Flaherty going to the Cardinals or
No.
Nola? Whatever it is, the Cardinals desperately need to retool their pitching staff, which is probably why we'll talk about the Cardinals every time a free agent pitcher comes up. Okay? The Braves, the Cardinals, the Twins, and just about any team in baseball could use this guy. At age 34, it does lead me to have just a little bit of hesitance. Okay? I'd probably choose Jordan Montgomery above Sonny Gray because of the age difference. But, hey, you never know. You look at guys like Verlander who could still get it done. I was going to throw Scherzer in there, but that would make no sense, right? Scherzer could be at the end of the deal. Jordan Montgomery is who we're talking about now. He does not qualify for a qualifying offer. He has quietly been one of the most consistent starters in the majors since 2021. 3.48 ERA in 94 starts for the Yankees, the Cardinals, and the Rangers. The Texas Rangers acquisition of Scherzer garnered most of the headlines at the trade deadline, but Montgomery excelled with the Rangers. He went 4-2 with a 2.79 ERA in 11 regular season starts. He's a lefty, and he only turns 31 next month, December. But his value might have been overly boosted because of what he did in the postseason. He went 3-1, 2.90 ERA in 6 games. 5 of them were starts. Remember, he came in and bailed out Scherzer once too, though. But because he was traded during the year, he can't be given a qualifying offer after the season. So unlike Snell and Nola, he won't have any draft pick compensation attached to him. He went 10-11, but his ERA on the season was 3.20, a 1.19 whip. Also, since he went to the Rangers, and I'm just talking about the regular season, he put up a 2.62 ERA and a 1.14 whip through 92 and 2/3 innings in the regular season. I like Jordan Montgomery. He's a steady arm, and I think that, look, his fastball velocity is 93.3. I know many of you are not going to heed my words when I tell you that a 93.3 mile an hour fastball velocity on average is much better for health reasons than a 97, 98, even though at this point in time you have to almost guarantee that you can throw 98 mile an hour or you're not going to make the MLB. It's kind of sad. But he never gives up home run. He's got a decent ground ball rate. He induces 43.2% of the time ground balls. I wish he could strike out a little higher, but his strikeout percentage is decent, 21.4. Not great, but he doesn't constantly only rely on strikeouts either. So when you see a guy that has a huge strikeout rate and you're saying, oh, yay, what happens if he loses 1 mile an hour on his velocity and he stops striking out batters as much? These things can kill a pitcher. So one thing not to be, you see guys with 25% strikeout rate, it's excellent. But what happens if they lose that? Then they're not a good pitcher anymore. So I'm saying Jordan Montgomery is one of the most solid pitchers going into next season, and I hope that his postseason, his postseason pitching stats do not make him overpriced. What about JD Martinez, age 36? He's been an all-star in each of the past 5 full seasons since 2018. He had another stellar season for the Dodgers at age 35. 13-year veteran slugged 33 home runs with 101 RBIs and an 893 OPS in his first year with the Dodgers, providing great value after they signed him to a 1-year, $10 million pact last December. So for teams in the race for Shohei Ohtani, Martinez could be a wise pivot if they fail to land Ohtani. I'm telling you what, this guy, he is still doing it, right? He's still slugging. He got his batting average 271. I don't care how old he is, he's still hitting like crazy. He does strike out too much. His strikeout rate is now up to 31.2%, which is going to hurt him in his batting average. But still, he hits the ball hard 48.3% of the time. You would be hard-pressed to find batters in baseball that hit the ball hard on a higher percentage than JD Martinez. Also, we knew, well, pretty much anybody that's been watching baseball for a while would expect that JD Martinez was a good fit for the Dodgers and that he would flourish over there, and it was a match made in heaven. Do not expect JD Martinez to hit another 35 homers. His price is probably going to be too high for me, but we'll see. Anyway, the Diamondbacks is one of JD Martinez's former teams. They used 10 different DHs this year. So do you think that JD Martinez could be a good fit for the Diamondbacks? That could be. It makes sense. They used 10 different DHs this year. And what team needs power more than the Diamondbacks, right? I would say Martinez is a good fit. Now, Lenny is harping on me to be done.
And finish tomorrow, so come on back.
So he wants me to tell you that you have to come back tomorrow. Oh, look, they're showing on TV right now potential starting lineups with Shohei Ohtani in Seattle, batting third, okay, right ahead of Cal Raleigh, Eugenio Suarez, and Kalenic. Ty France, all right? You got Dominic Canzone over there, a little-known player that we will talk about again. But so the Mariners' potential offer, they're saying 11 years, $510 million. Now, these are all just projections. This is not anything in stone. Everything that you see, read, or hear is all someone's opinion. But also, they're talking about other potential fits for Ohtani. I'm just going to leave it at this. I love this idea that he will go to Seattle. They're saying $510 million, 11 years. Woo-wee, okay? That will be the highest paid player in sports. According to MLB. All right, let me catch up with the chat room, and then I will wish all of you a wonderful Saturday morning. Toronto is a prominently liberal market. The usual comments from Toronto fans are, Manoah lost some weight and get your act together. For Guerrero, it's get your act together and lose some weight. This is why you don't insert yourself. I'm talking about myself, inserting myself in a conversation that was already happening. Sonny Gray, Chris from Cambridge, of course, a resident Toronto fan, absolutely. Sonny Gray sounds like a future Blue Jay to him. Malpal says that Josh Hader will be a bad signing for a team. I'd love to hear more about that. Is that because of his age? I mean, how can you argue with Hader? He didn't get a lot of saves. He got a good chunk of saves, but the Padres were such a disappointment. They just, honestly, they didn't give him an opportunity to get that many saves. But if you look at his stats, I mean, his whip was like .8 or it was, I don't have his stats in front of me, but clearly one of the top, if not the best, stats for a relief pitcher in baseball this past year. And he did it on a team that just wasn't trying to win. I mean, maybe they were trying, but they weren't doing it. He is a little over the hill. He's had some struggles with left-handed hitters in the past, giving up a lot of home runs to them. So tell me more. Also, let's see here what we got. Boston Paul says he doubts Seattle. Danny Fuller says Bochy is only smart because he saw the writing on the kitchen counter in San Francisco, and that is what makes him great. He saw the writing on the wall, LOL, fake news, Andrea. Okay, fake news. Bochy's one of the best managers in baseball. That's not fake news. That's an opinion anyway, so it's not fake news unless it's presented as fact. And I'm just, on this show, I'm giving you my opinion mostly. $35 million a year. Look, so King Turd, we're talking about Ohtani. Turd says he'd be fine with Seattle overpaying Ohtani. He's not worth more than Corey Seager as a DH. Or is this, Yeah, he's not worth more than Corey Seager as a DH, and iffy arm, in his opinion. Danny Fuller says $35 million a year for Ohtani. King Turd says he's a DH with 2 Tommy John surgeries. And that's true. No, it's fake news on Ohtani to Seattle. Yes, it's fake news so far because nothing is set yet. But I just think that Ohtani would be a good fit there. And I agree with King Turd, though, 100%. Any single team that acquires Ohtani is paying way too much money for him, and they are going to regret their decision. There is no doubt in my mind that whoever signs Ohtani to a 10-plus year contract is going to regret it within the first 5 years. And they might lose for the next 5 years because they can't afford to pay any other player. I'm telling you, to pay $500 million for this guy, yes, you're going to make a ton of money in fan participation. He brings people to the ballpark. Every game he went to, whether it was in New York, Boston, Miami, wherever Ohtani went, the ballpark was packed. They will sell a ton of merchandise, and it's great for Japanese TV. They have that in Seattle. Ichiro loved playing there. But in my opinion, there is no way that he is going to live up to any contract. And that, my fellow Americans and Canadians, we will wish you a wonderful day. Tomorrow, the Arizona Fall League All-Stars game. Chris Gallo, we expect some updates from you, my friend. So take notes when you go to the games and just have a great time over there. We wish we were there. We will see you tomorrow. Lady and the Legend, 9 a.m. Do not miss it.